We're live from Portman Road. Good afternoon to all of you joining me live and to all of you who are watching back on catch up as well. Back on Suffolk soil, third time in just over a week, 8 days. Can Ipswich Town cap off the perfect week here at Portman Road? We've had the 3-0 demolition of Swansea last weekend, cruise control for a lot of that game. A very different night here on Tuesday against Hull. Hard-fought game, needed that Azor Matasiwa rocket to break down stubborn opposition. Big result in the top two chase, that one. Leicester City, the visitors here this afternoon, fighting for their lives at the bottom end of the table. More on them in a moment. A chance, obviously, for Ipswich to make it 4 wins in a row as well. Bounce back brilliantly from those back-to-back defeats in Wrexham. A win at Watford started this little run. Can it continue? Can momentum gather? We're about to find out. How are you all? Thanks for joining me. We'll discuss team news in a minute, but if you've got some early thoughts, now's the time. We'll kick it off. I think this is a good time to start with Stevie here, who says, "Afternoon, Stu. Very happy with today's lineup." Yeah, let's jump straight to it, shall we? This is the Ipswich Town lineup today. 4-2-3-1, as always, from Kieran McKenna. And it's 5 changes from the team that started against Hull in midweek, and it's the exact same 5 changes in reverse that he made then. So it is, there he is, look at his little head. Look at him. There he is, Alex, in the background. It's the exact same team that started against Swansea last weekend, which for me produced possibly the best 45-minute performance of the season from Ipswich in that first half against Swansea. Very impressive. And it just looked really balanced, didn't it, that team? Decided to freshen it up in midweek. Such strength in depth in this team. We're in the middle of a really busy run. So I can understand the logic behind freshening it up, but that team looked really balanced. Football is about chemistry as much as it is quality, and that had shades of the promotion season of 23-24, didn't it, against Swansea last weekend? Yes, helped by the fact that Swansea perhaps naively came here to try and play, and that played into Ipswich's hands. But I think also having Mehmeti tucked in off that left-hand side really helped Leif Davis get back to his creative best. It gave him the space to bomb up and down, and that was one of his best performances of the season. Dan Neil looks so suited to that box-to-box 6/8 role on the left side of the holding midfielders. Played it in a sort of Massimo Luongo fashion. I thought the link-up play between Davis, Neil, Mehmeti, Nunez in the 10, it just clicked, it just worked. Gave Wes Burns then the option to be that sort of cheat code on the far right when they wanted to switch it out to him as well. So that's the team that I thought Kieran McKenna would go with today, and that's the team that he's gone with. And I don't know what you think about it, but I'm looking forward to seeing it again in action today. Stevie again, rotation pays off. Bear in mind we have another 3-game week ahead of us. Yeah, the games come thick and fast, don't they? This is a period of 7 games in 22 days, I think, off the top of my head, starting from that Watford game onwards. Stoke away on Tuesday, Sheffield Wednesday away next Saturday. Let's have a look at the fixtures a bit further ahead. We've been talking a little while about when that Portsmouth game might get rearranged, because there's very few midweeks left between now and the end of the season. Shall I run through them all for you? We got Stoke away Tuesday, Sheffield Wednesday away next Saturday. Then there'll be a blank midweek finally. Can't put the Portsmouth game in there because Portsmouth play on the Monday night. So a rare breather then for Ipswich. And then I think really we could probably call it the run-in from there. Millwall at home, who refused to go away. They've won again this morning, or this lunchtime, I should say. Then it's the Easter weekend. Southampton away on Good Friday as it stands. I say that because Southampton are still in the FA Cup. So if they get through, they are away to Fulham, off the top of my head, this weekend. If they get through, that game will have to get rearranged. Ipswich are probably waiting to see if Portsmouth end up with a blank weekend, because Portsmouth are due to play Norwich on Good Friday. Norwich also still in the FA Cup. They're away to Leeds. So if Norwich and Southampton both get through, long odds there, both away to Premier League clubs, but not impossible. Maybe Portsmouth Ipswich could fall on Good Friday yet, but I would say the odds of that are unlikely. Home to Birmingham on Easter Monday. Then it's the East Anglian Derby at Carrow Road on Saturday, April the 11th. Then it will probably be the Portsmouth rearrangement midweek. Middlesbrough at home, Charlton away on a Wednesday night, West Brom away, and then QPR at home to finish. So it's going to be pretty breathless action between now and the end of the season, and that is where hopefully Ipswich Town's squad depth really comes into its own as the fixture list takes its toll on others. Kieran McKenna utilising his squad game by game, within games as well. It's a power pack bench today. I've mentioned the starting 11, but the bench today is Alex Palmer, your goalkeeper, one defensive option in Jacob Greaves, two midfield options in Jack Taylor and Jens Kiuster, and then how about this for attacking options? Sindre Valla-Ageli, championship record signing, Casey McAteer, big chunk of money spent on him as well. Chuba Akpom, former championship Golden Boot winner, currently third choice striker. George Hurst, back amongst the goals recently, is looking effective off the bench. Jack Clark, Ipswich's top goal scorer, worth of, what was he, £15 million when he signed, on the bench as well. Ipswich lead the way in terms of goals from subs this season and goal involvement from subs as well, 14 and 21 respectively for those stats. So if it is a tight game and Ipswich need to call upon the bench, that is an option today, as always. What are we thinking then? I've got Stevie again here. Bets on the lineup at Stoke being the same 5 changes. May well be, mightn't it? There will certainly be some rotation in midweek to come. Jamie here. G'day. Will McAteer get a look in against his old club today? Probably not. Question mark, exclamation mark. Let's have a look at Casey McAteer's minutes of late. It doesn't feel like he's got on the pitch a lot, if at all, of late. I can't remember. It didn't come on against Hull in midweek. Looks back at the Swansea game. He got 20 minutes or so against Swansea. And then his previous outing was Watford. When he come on? It says he came on, but he didn't. So no, he hasn't had a lot of minutes of late. It's pretty clear that he is behind Wes Burns in the right wing pecking order, probably behind Sindre Valla-Ageli as well. But it's his former club, and Kieran McKenna does put a bit of stock in that. He's said it in the past that sometimes you get that little extra percentage out of a player who maybe feels they've got a point to prove against a former club. George Hurst falls into that bracket as well, who is someone who's always spoken about trying to draw upon that a little bit, whether it's been playing against Blackburn, where he didn't get many minutes, or Leicester, a club that ultimately decided to sell him to Ipswich permanently after the loan spell as well. So, yeah, two former Foxes on the bench for Ipswich Town today. Christopher here. Hope we play as well as recently, 3-0. Yeah, I sense that Ipswich maybe coming into form at just the right time. I say that tentatively because we've been there before this season, haven't we? It's been a tale of question marks over character and consistency throughout this season. One step forward, sometimes 2 back. That said, for all the talk about consistency, Ipswich have never gone more than 2 games without winning since the summer transfer window shut. It's really been a case of playing catch-up. That squad was still being built deep into the summer transfer window, dropped a few points in the early stages of the season. But since then, yes, there's been some knocks along the way, and that is to be expected. But they haven't lasted long, have they? And we're talking about it again. The reaction to Wrexham has been good. 3 wins on the spin. Chance to make it 4 today. Traditionally, this is the time of year when Ipswich come into their own in recent years. Both the League One season and the Championship promotion season, mid-February onwards, which is when Ipswich Town have caught fire. Can that be the case again this season? Let's hope so. Who's this guy? I can get the seat to it's on the drag. Alex Jones, 4402. Where's my seat gone? Heartbreak. Where is he? Down there. He's out of his usual seat today. Slightly busier than usual press box. He's been displaced. He's down. You're all right, mate. We can communicate from one row to another. Season of multiple false dawns, says Stevie. It's felt like that, hasn't it, at times? Let's look back through the fixture list and look at the big knocks along the way. We go back to October. There was, off the back of the East Anglian Derby win, the long-awaited East Anglian Derby win, was the 2-1 defeat at Middlesbrough and then the 3-0 home defeat to Charlton, which remains the only home defeat of the season. Ipswich's form here at Portman Road has been superb, but responded really well to that, didn't they? Beat West Brom, then went and won 4-1 at QPR. That was part of a 6-game undefeated streak. Then another little mini blip, lost at Oxford 2-1, and then that dire game at Blackburn, rearranged game at Blackburn where they did well to snatch a draw right at the end through Violet Aguirre's equaliser. But again, reaction time from that, great. Beat Coventry, the league leaders, 3-0, beat Stoke. Leicester, the visitors today, lost there 3-1. We'll come on to that in a minute. But since then, the form's been pretty good. 5 wins in a row from late December all the way through till late January. A defeat at Sheffield United. Slightly frustrating home draw against Preston, albeit they could have won that late on with some penalty shouts. And then the Wrexham back-to-back defeats recently. But in general, when Ipswich have had a knock or two this season, they've responded to it pretty well. And I think you've got to give them credit for that. And I always talk about it, that 2 points per game. If you can keep ticking along at that, which Ipswich have done since the summer transfer window closed, then you're in with a great shout of automatic promotion. And those wins recently have put Ipswich in a great shout. I remind you of the league table. Coventry top, 71. Middlesbrough second, 66. Millwall, as I mentioned, have won this morning. Remind myself of the score there. Very, very quickly. Millwall 1. Waits for the Wi-Fi to load. We won 3-1 at Hull today, so that's a hell of a win for them. A hell of a win, if you like. That was bad. They're right. They won't go away, will they, Alex Neil's men? People keep expecting them to drop away, perhaps a bit like Ipswich in that promotion season. The underdogs in this top 2 fight are still there. That lifts them to within 1 point of Middlesbrough. Obviously, have played a game extra now, but they're right there in the mix. Then it's Ipswich back in 4th, and things stand on 63, but with 2 games in hand on Millwall, 1 game in hand on Borough and Coventry. Hull still 3 points behind Ipswich, having played 2 games more. Then you've got Wrexham in 6th on 57. So that is the picture at the moment. Games to come today of relevance: Coventry at Bristol City. What else have we got? And that is it today in terms of relevance, which must mean Middlesbrough are in action tomorrow afternoon at QPR. So a chance for Ipswich to apply a bit of pressure on Middlesbrough ahead of a tough-looking game for them at QPR tomorrow. How are we feeling about this one? Huge result for Oxford tonight. It's just been last night, it should be pointed out. 3-1, Stevie again, 3-1 at Preston last night, which really piles the pressure on at the bottom end of the table. Let's talk about that, because Leicester are very much in the relegation picture. A reminder, for all the talk about Ipswich under pressure to bounce back first time, and should they be doing better than they have done, you've got Southampton outside the playoffs, although they are on the rails now, starting to come together. And the other team that came down from the Premier League are Leicester City, who are very much in danger of dropping to League One a decade on exactly from that fairy tale Premier League title. The bottom three now, after Oxford's win last night, which lifts them out of the drop zone, is remarkably West Brom, Leicester City and Sheffield Wednesday, who are done and dusted, have been for a little while, but Leicester and West Brom in serious danger of joining them. I think you probably know the tale of Leicester now came into this season with a points deduction hanging over their head. That finally came into play in February time, 6 points. Marty Cifuentes sacked in January. Gary Rowett has been called upon for the rescue mission, a man who has managed what feels like every Midlands club going now. He's added another one to his list, but an experienced manager at this level, got sacked by Oxford earlier in the season. They are currently 10 games without a win, Leicester City, in all competitions, 9 in the league. A couple of results for Rowett when he first came in. They went and drew 2-2 at Stoke. Then they went and drew 1-1 at Middlesbrough, which is a little bit of a warning sign for Ipswich going into this. And then they lost 2-0 at Norwich. Buoyant Norwich, we have to say, since their change of manager last weekend. Could they go down? Every chance at the moment with the run of form that they're on. But I look at that team today, and I'll bring it up now. It's remarkable that they're in the position that they're in. Stodicic in goal, and that's because Asmir Begovic is injured at the moment. Pereira, who's been there through some of the real highs of recent years of European football, of FA Cup wins and all the rest of it. Akoli, Nelson, the centre-halves. That's because Jamal Lascelles, who's come in mid-season, isn't quite deep fit enough at the moment. Thomas at left-back. Harry Winks and Ollie Skip, two former Tottenham players. Plenty of experience between those two in midfield. And then look at the strength on the wings. Fatawu and Mavadini, both of whom have caused Ipswich problems over recent years. Fatawu, arguably the most talented individual player in the league, certainly on his day, scored from inside his own half against Ipswich in the reverse fixture when Ipswich lost 3-1 at the King Power back in December. Mavadini, full of skill and pace on the left. That means Bobby Reed, another one with Premier League experience, will probably play as the 10 today. He's moved inside from the left. And then Daka up front. Jordan James, Jordan Ayew on the bench, Hamza Chowdhury, Joe Aribo, Lascelles, who I've mentioned, Divine and Mukasa as well, who started games this season. It's crazy, really, when you read that team out and that squad out, that they are in the position they're in. Kieran McKenna went as far as saying you can make an argument that they have the best starting 11 on paper in the league still yesterday. Maybe a little bit of mind games from the Ipswich manager, but he said if you add up their Premier League and international caps, they would come out on top, and that is fact. So let battle recommence between Ipswich and Leicester. We've had some real drama in this fixture over recent years. The promotion season of 23-24 both went up automatically. Ipswich scored late equalisers in both of those games. Sam Morsey with a deflected strike at the death at their place. Jeremy Sarmiento scored very late on here in 1-1 draws. They were big moments, draws that felt like wins for Ipswich that season. Both went up, first and second respectively. Then in the Premier League, real controversy here when the sides met at Portman Road quite early on in the campaign when Ipswich felt like they had a bit of a momentum. Still don't know how that penalty wasn't given on Connor Chaplin. Complete barge on him in the box, not given. Moments later, controversial red card on Calvin Phillips for a challenge that he tried to pull out of, and Ipswich's 1-0 lead went, and they drew 1-1. And we'll never know if Ipswich have won that game. Might they have got a foothold in the Premier League? Might momentum have built? It felt like a turning point, and Ipswich ultimately sunk to relegation. Went to the King Power late in the season. A game best remembered for Jamie Vardy's big Foxes farewell. Scored on it. Of course he did. Ipswich lost 2-0 that day. Casey McAteer, now of Ipswich, got the second goal for Leicester. And then earlier this season, I've mentioned it already, a 3-1 defeat at the King Power. Fatawu scoring from 70 yards out. defensively, Ipswich weren't great that day. So a bit of a revenge mission for Ipswich against Leicester today, and it got referenced by Kieran McKenna in his pre-match press conference. Talking of previous meetings, Paul here. I remember when we did Leicester 6-1. Yeah, that was a day to remember against Leicester. We had the snow game here as well, didn't they? Roy Keane versus Sven-Göran Eriksson. How that game finished, I don't know. I think Mr. Keane applied a bit of pressure on the referee that day after an early lead. So yes, a fixture that's thrown up a bit of drama over the years. Will we get a bit more today with both teams really fighting for different stakes, but high stakes at both ends of the table? Andy McAvoy, every game turning into a must-win up at Town. Are we in every game to cup final territory? I think we can sound the klaxon on that one, can't we? Doesn't feel like the run-in yet, but it's very quickly going to become the run-in. 12 games left for Ipswich, and they will get ticked off very quickly, as you say. One today, one Tuesday, one next Saturday, and you're into the final 10 games all of a sudden. Easter weekend, to me, feels like the real starter gun on the run-in. So, yeah. I mentioned this already, but I'll mention it again. Any idea when Pompey will be? I think the reason they haven't announced that yet is they're waiting to see what happens in the FA Cup this weekend. Because there's a slim opportunity they might be able to rearrange it on Good Friday. Ipswich are due to go to Southampton. Portsmouth are due to play Norwich on Good Friday. Both Southampton and Norwich still in the FA Cup. They have quarter-final ties, and I'm going to make sure I get this right which way round it is, but they both have quarter-final ties away to Premier League opposition. Off the top of my head, Southampton are at Fulham and Norwich are at Leeds. So long odds on both of them, upsetting the odds away to Premier League opposition, but not impossible. And if they both get through, then both Ipswich and Portsmouth will have a blank Good Friday. And Ipswich, instead of going to Southampton, might go to a different South Coast club instead, Portsmouth. That would be better than trying to slot that game in between the East Anglia derby at Portman Road and a huge game at home against Middlesbrough here. So that would be preferable to play it then, but a lot's got to happen. But we will know more off the back of that weekend. It can't be on the next blank midweekend slot because Portsmouth have a Monday night game in the league, so they couldn't do it then. Here we go then, as you can hear, Fatboy Slim right here, right now, the opening tones of that, which means we're not far from the bell being rung and the team's coming out of the tunnel. The stadium is filling up nicely here today. Big game, Ipswich Town and Leicester City. Can they get some revenge on the Foxes and keep up the pressure on Middlesbrough in this top two race? Fingers crossed. Enjoy it if you're here, if you're watching or if you're following from afar. Live updates as usual on the website for subscribers. £5 for 5 months at the moment is the current offer. Nice little plug for that. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Enjoy the game. See you on the other side.